Well, my name's Matthew Gough. I'm a Czech team leader or principal consultant at Nettitude Limited. We're a UK-based and US-based cybersecurity testing and compliance company. We've been in the country and operating in cybersecurity for sort of 10 plus years. We've built quite a big capability now, and I guess I'm probably one of the more senior of the penetration testers, hence my qualification as Czech team leader. So my day-to-day roles are really around penetration testing, IT health check work as a Czech company for UK government, as well as private sector enterprise. And we would go in, typically define a scope for what we want to look at, and go in and basically try and rip it apart and give them some good feedback on what we find and how to fix it, and let them take that forward and hopefully improve their security posture. How do I keep up to date with the latest technologies? I guess nowadays it's much easier to do it than when we first started out sort of 10 years ago, where there was much less social media. Twitter's a massive help nowadays. You can follow all the latest and greatest hacks and attacks just by a selective few people on Twitter. So you can follow those, and podcasts. I mean, there's so many podcasts out there now, some better than others, predominantly mostly out the US, funnily enough, but there's some great podcasts out there now where you can just sit and listen to, and obviously iPhones and all these other devices makes it much easier to be able to listen to these things and read about Twitter on the train or on your way to work. So yeah, it's much easier to keep a breadth of what's going on, and great conferences like CrestCon, B-Sides, you know, there's some great conferences in the UK now as well as obviously out in the US. So how did I manage to get into the industry? Well, I started off in server desktop support, so typical break-fix type role in a big enterprise in Bedford where I lived. Got involved with one of the big five there. They had a contract, they took me on board, and really back then it was sort of NT4, Windows 2000 days. So it was a real pain to roll this stuff out onto desktops and get it all up and running. So I'd be running around fixing it as it breaks, which was quite a lot of work. And then I moved into firewall and security side of things as firewalls took off, and more people started putting them in and thinking, actually, you know, just plugging our network into the internet is not such a great idea anymore. So once I started into the firewall security role, that's really where I started to understand IP flows and traffic flows and things like this, which are really the foundation of securing a network. So I would start with firewall and log in and things like that, and look into those. And then when I joined Nettitude, the company was transitioning at that point really from an infrastructure company to more of a security compliance company. So we moved into doing heavily a lot around security, and penetration testing was obviously the key exercise for us as a consultancy company to get involved with. So I've been doing pen testing now for probably 6-7 years, and now obviously come as far as Czech team leader, which I guess is almost the pinnacle as you would look at it in the UK certainly. So yeah, I feel that I've achieved and moved as far as I can with the pen testing, and now really it's just about learning as much as you can about the other fields of pen testing, because obviously there's so many different fields out there. You can't be an expert in all of them, so it's really about taking your pick and working out which ones you enjoy the most. Well, there's a lot of great courses now, so if you want to get into the industry, it's developed a lot as well, so you can go online and look online, SecurityTube for example. If you hit that website and listen to every hour of their courses, most of it for free, you would get a good understanding of all the different disciplines that are involved in security and penetration testing. The key three really are sort of infrastructure, wireless, and now mobile. So if you wanted to be leading edge, you would dive straight into mobile and look at how security is evolving on Android and iOS type platforms. But yeah, I would look at all the great courses out there and not try and do all of them. I wouldn't try and become the master of everything. To be really good at web application penetration testing is a discipline in its own self, and it depends on where you've come from. So if you're a developer and looking to become security, then maybe web app is the way to get into it. If you're coming from where I did, where it was more infrastructure, then infrastructure would be a good angle to go at. So it all depends on where you come from, And then obviously, you know, university now, there's a lot of great courses out there. So maybe look to do one of those if you're young enough to be picking your career right now. Then yeah, pick a good university with a good course and a good reputation in cyber security. So what do I do day to day? The worst and best bits. So the best bits, obviously, really, the best bit is there's nothing more rewarding than being able to hand the password of the domain admin on a bit of paper back to the domain admin and go, here you go, is this your password? And if you can do that within an hour or two of being on site, then this even feels even better. But I guess that's a bit of self-gratification. But in terms of how I feel at the end of an engagement, is that as long as I feel that, you know, I've put together I guess a holistic view of their security right now, and being able to document that and communicate that back to them in a readable manner, because obviously it's fairly technical in places, then I feel that I've achieved my goal in helping them secure themselves moving forward. So that's some of the best bits, is the reward, you know, and we see a number of different environments week in, week out. You could be on a different engagement every week, so you'll see different ways and methods people have implemented security. So you really get to feel a good feel as to how people are doing it and where the weaknesses may crop in, whether they be administrative or actually bugs in software and code. So you really get a good understanding of that. The worst, I guess, is always the report writing. No one likes to write reports, and this industry is heavily report generation led. So you have to write a report at the end of it. There's no two ways of getting out of it. So yeah, I guess the report side is never the fun bit.